Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we welcome everyone for this week's session. So we have Parameshwara Gaura Prabhu who has
Your voice is very low.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yeah, if it is closer to the mic, much better. Then
Yes, Prabhuji. I hope it is better now, Prabhuji.
yeah,
Yes. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we welcome everyone to this week's session. So we have Parameshwara Gauru Prabhu who spoke with us last week. So he'll be continuing on the specialities of the Damodar month. So to start the session, I'll start with the Mangalacharan. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त श्रीराधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिमुत्कृपादमं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरं हरिओं तत्सत् हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम प्रभु जी, ओवर टू यू प्रभु जी। Prabhuji, unable to hear you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopijan Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijan Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana 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 Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna. Mukam karoti vachalam panadam langedigam metrupata mahamande Shri Gurum Dyanatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pretavatara Srimati Jayapataka Swamindram Namahajara Padaya Tayatavadaya Gaura Katha Damodaya Nagara Gramataya Panchagat Padupyasya Kripa Gandhapiyasya Patitana Pavani Vaishnava. Hare Krishna. We welcome you all to this wonderful evening during the very, very holy Kartik Mass, and that too we are going to discuss the Damodar Leela, and we'll be trying to understand from Srimad Bhagavatam and from various gurus and acharyas. In addition to that, we will try to little bit touch and go with the Damodar Ashtakam, the Nectarian 8 verses also. Hare Krishna. So, when we talk about the Damodar Leela, let us try to understand what is the term Leela means. Leela is a Sanskrit word, and when the Lord does it, then only it applies. It's called pastimes. Prabhupada explains when Lord performs this pastimes, it's called as transcendental pastimes. Prabhupada always having a good authority in English, and he understands the importance of emphasizing the glories of the Lord. He never miss out any of the adjectives which is to be used in all these words. Whenever we say devotional service, Prabhupada explains pure devotional service, unalloyed devotional service, and so on. Like this in this also transcendental pastimes. So why we call it as transcendental pastimes? Because the Lord does not need to do anything as such. As we know from the Bhagavatam verses, he is Atma Rama. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was giving explanation for so much on this particular phrase, what is Atma Rama. Similarly, here also, the Lord is always Atma Rama. He need not do any activities as such. But we are all compelled to do activities because we have done some karma. Based on that, we are forced to do activities. And that too, it binds us. But whenever the Lord does it, it is beyond that. That's why it's called as transcendental. So, the basic thing what we have to understand here is when we say the Lord's activities, one should not consider as a normal material activity. Similarly, the Lord comes down. That means he is unborn. He is also called as Ajja. That means whatever the appearance and whatever the transcendental activity he performs, it's always called as Divyam in Sanskrit, and we call it transcendental. But how to understand this? This is very important because with our normal knowledge we will not be able to understand, because these are all requiring some qualifications. That is, we have to purify ourselves. Then only we can understand to some extent the Lord's activities and his appearances. So that's why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says very clearly, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yoveti Tatvataha Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti. So Arjuna, this is coming in the fourth chapter. So why we are talking this shloka at the beginning? Let me make it very clear. As we go on to listening to this katha or the Leela, we will be telling sometimes Krishna is getting angry, Krishna is sleeping, Krishna is doing this, that, like that. One should not misunderstand. This is a normal activity what we do here. So here it is all transcendental activity. It has got a special importance to that. It gives pleasure to the devotees as well as those who listen. So as we move on to the Leelas, these Leelas are performed, as I told you earlier, for the pleasure of the devotees, those who are partaking, and those who are listening again and again. Again, the Leelas means it is plural, right? His Holiness Bhanuswami Maharaj explains the Lord's Leelas can be classified into four. One is the Bala Leela in this childhood pastimes, Pauganda Leela after that, then Yavali Leela, that is youthful time, then it is Dwaraka Leela. So all these four Leelas are explained in detail in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Again, when we talk about this type of Leelas, Bhanu Maharaj says very clearly, all the Leelas are important, undoubtedly. But of all the Leelas, what is more attractive and what is always nectarian, pleasing, everything can say. All right. That means all others are also, but this is more important because the Bala Leela. Bala Leela gives immense pleasure to each and everyone, and it purifies us very fast. Because whenever we talk about the Yavana Leela and when we talk about the Dwaraka Leela, we have to keep our mind very clean. So that portion of cleaning takes place when we listen to the Bala Leela. Because here he does all these activities which are all superhuman activities. So when we say superhuman activities, Prabhupada explains very clearly, Kritavan kila karmani saharamena keshava atimartyani bhagavan gudaha kapata manushaha. He comes in the disguise of a human being, though he is the Supreme Lord. So when he performs it, one cannot understand easily. Atimartyani, Martyani means those who are dying. Atimartyani means who is doing above all this human things. That's called superhuman activities. We talk about the Superman, this man, that man, right? But here, Prabhupada explains is superhuman activity. So then again, His Holiness Bhanu Maharaj is explaining of all the four Leelas, the Bala Leela is very, very important. Then again, in that Bala Leela also, there are so many, right? Out of that, this is the Damodar Leela is the topmost. Because important reason is, there are so many reasons, I will tell one or two with reference to the Bhagavatam again. See, when we talk about this Damodar Leela, there are two portions of it. One is Yashoda Maya ties Krishna with a rope along with the grinding mortar. This is one portion. The other portion is the Lord the Lord goes on, moving on to relieve these two sons of Kuvera from the sinful condition of a tree. So this is the second portion. In both the cases, the Lord gives so much mercy to both. That is Yashoda Maya, one aspect, another is Nalakubera Manikriva. So as we said that this Balalila, so important it is, the first reason is it comes like this. In the Bhagavatam, it explains the very first, which is called as Vedanta Sutra, Janmadhya Seyato Anvayat. In that, Abhignaha Swarat. Swarat means he is fully independent. Right? But for such a Supreme Lord, how he is getting afraid or posing as afraid to Mother Yashoda's stick. And again, when he was tied to the grinding mortar, how was it possible for Yashoda to tie him? So these are the two aspects which we make us wonder again and again, astonished. How is it possible? We are telling him he is a supreme controller. But under these circumstances, how he is getting bound? That means, is he not a supreme controller? No. He is the supreme controller for all time. Again, if you look at it in the Bhagavatam, little later in the 9th canto, Bhagavan says to Durvasa in the Ambarish Charitra, Aham Bhakta Paradhina Hi Ashwatantra Ivadvicha Sadhvir Grishta Hridayo Bhakte Bhakta Jana Priya. So there the Lord is telling to Durvasa, hey Brahmana, try to understand. Aham Bhakta Paradhina Hi Ashwatantra. That word Ashwatantra is very important. Prabhupada explains here, Ashwatantra means he is completely dependent. How it can be? At one side you are telling fully independent. Here the Lord himself says, I am dependent. How is it possible? People think this is contrary. No way. The Lord is exchanging with his devotees and it is in a pure state of mind. We have to understand how important it is. Because when Yashoda showered so much of pure love, unalloyed devotional service, the Lord was immensely pleased and he was ready to bind himself for the pleasure of Yashoda. For the pleasure of Yashoda, he pretended as he was. Right? So these are the two reasons why this Leela is so important. The Supreme Lord and the same Supreme Lord is getting bound at the same time afraid of. That's why Maharaj says, this is a unique Leela. Nobody would have seen the Lord being afraid of like this. Right? And he is tied up like this. So let us move on to the Leela inside, how it goes. Krishna, as he is always favoring his devotees all the time, he goes to various houses stealing the butter. But when he is stealing the butter, people understand he is stealing only the butter. But one should understand it is not merely stealing the butter, but he is stealing the hearts of everyone. In this regard, His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj explains, if we keep our mind very clean, as white as the butter, then the Lord comes and takes it. So what is more important is cleansing the heart. Again, as we talk about stealing the butter, stealing the hearts, right? For each and every Leela of the Lord, each and every Leela gives him a wonderful name, which is always transcendental. When he steals the butter, he is called as Makhan Chor. Chor, when you say, it's not a good sign, introducing someone, right? Again, when he steals the hearts of everyone, he is called as Chitta Chor. So all these names, how it can be attributed to the Supreme Lord? It's not possible, right? But the Lord does everything with perfection. And he only does it to the best of. As we know, he possesses so many qualities. Out of that, we say 6 qualities he possesses in full, right? Like this beauty, whatnot, the 6 things which you know. But here, when he does something as a thief, right? So he does it with again a perfection. Right? As we go to the story again, he steals and every gopi comes and complains to Mother Yashoda. But people in general will feel, oh, poor Mother Yashoda will be listening to so many complaints. Like the school children take their parents to the teachers' parents meeting, what we call it as open house. At the time, the teacher will be shooting so much of complaints about children. Sometimes they glorify the children, both aspects, right? So here, Mother Yashoda has to face all these things. But there is one interesting explanation from Acharyas. What they say, the gopis have no intention of complaining about the Lord, but their intention is very clear to see this beautiful form of the Lord. Because every day morning, Mother Yashoda dresses up so well, so beautifully Krishna. And to see this wonderful form of the Lord, all the gopis are longing for it, longing for it. So they want some small excuses, right? So they come and say, Krishna did this, Krishna did that, like that. But what is the aim is only to see the Lord. We can see even Mahadev, Lord Shiva wanted to see this wonderful, beautiful form. And he also came in the form of a Brahmana asking for alms. Right? So like this, the complaints are on, and Mother Yashoda also felt it, this is too much. So one day when Krishna went with all his friends to steal a house, suddenly the gopis were about to catch, they all ran away. Then they felt it, there is a problem here. The gopis are always chasing us out. So we have to go quietly, steal the butter, come. They are planning like this. On the other side, the gopis are planning, oh, when this fellow, Krishna, comes, with so much of affinity, they call him the fellow. So when this fellow comes with his friend, we have to somehow catch him, tie him nicely. Because they want to see the Lord all the time. But what they all planned in the meeting, okay, let us tie a nice bell in each and every raft where we have kept the yogurt, butter in the mud pot. So they tied it. So Krishna came along. Again, this is a wonderfully explained by His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj. So as they come, they saw all the bells. The boys were afraid. Krishna said, do not bother, my dear boys. Let's go and do as usual, they taking out the butter. So as they approached, all were stunned for a moment. And Krishna instructed all the bells, you all have to listen to me. They said, yes, sir, yes, sir. How we say in our office, no, to the boss. Whatever he says, we will say yes. We will never say no, right? There cannot be a no to the boss, right? So here, the bells also very clearly told Krishna, yes, sir, yes, sir. When we say the bell speaks, people will ask, how is it possible? It is a inert thing. But when it comes into the Leela of the Lord, everything acts, everything responds, everything always reciprocates. So here the bell also has senses and it expresses. So like this, when they express, Krishna said, okay, boys, the bells will not ring because I have ordered it. You all can take it. So when they all took the butter, there was no noise. There was no noise. He was taking closer to the mouth. There was no noise. When Krishna was about to put it in his mouth, almost closer to the mouth inside, all the bells rang. Krishna was staring laughingly. How come you have how you are doing it? This is not fair. I told not to ring, right? This is too much. Then all the bells are obeying and woefully they are telling, yes, sir, whenever you accept the boga, we are supposed to ring the bell because it is offered to you and one should know this particular boga is offered to the Lord. So this is the Shastra's instruction. So I cannot go away from the Shastra's injunctions. So Krishna smiles. By that time, the gopis come, Krishna runs away, escapes. One day what happened? Suddenly, one of the gopi caught hold of Krishna. And she thought, oh, today I am going to punish him. I am not going to leave him. How she is going to punish Krishna is begging, please, please don't. Yeah, because these are all wonderful acting, right? So she says, I am going to take your mother and I am going to complain because I have caught hold of you red-handedly, right? Immediately, Gopi was catching and taking Krishna to the Yashoda's house. Okay, while going, all of a sudden, Krishna said, listen, if you do like this, this is not good to you. Try to understand, you may end up in problem. But the gopis are saying, no, 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 I am going to complain. So halfway through, Krishna changed himself into a Gopa. That is the mother who was taking, the gopi who was taking her own son, he changed his form. So she went and knocked at the door. Yashoda, Yashoda screamed. Yashoda running came. What happened? What happened? See, I have caught your son red-handed. I am going to complain. Look at his face full of butter, everything. He stole from my house, he ate it. And Yashoda seeing it, laughing, 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 laughing so much. Then that gopi getting more angry. I am complaining about your son and you are laughing. What is this? Then suddenly Yashoda smiles and says, "Oh, poor gopi, look at, you have brought your son and you are complaining about your son." Then the gopi became very shy. "Oh, I brought Krishna only. What is this magic?" This is called the Lord's mysticism. Right? He is the master of mystics. So again, the gopi went sadly halfway through. Then halfway through, suddenly Krishna pulls her dress, sari, and she is looking at, "Oh, Krishna, you have come back. How come?" Then he says, "Listen, I told you then itself you will end up in problem. Now you have ended up in problem. Okay, try to understand. This is only this much. If you try to do more with me, I will play more with you." Then what she was telling, what else he can do? He says, "I'll become your husband and show it." Then the gopi was feeling very shy. So like this, Krishna does so much of exchange of love. These are all in the pure platform of transcendental bliss. One should understand. So these are all explained by various acharyas and they relish the entire charitra, the entire katha. So again, Krishna goes back and Mother Yashoda felt it. I have to definitely do something for this complaint. Now onwards, I am myself going to milk the cow. I am going to boil the milk. I am going to feed my Krishna. I will not allow him to go and taste others' house. When we talk about it, Yashoda had lakhs and lakhs of cows. You can't imagine. Nowadays, when we go and ask, especially when we tell the children in the classes in Dubai, we used to tell them, "Have you seen a cow?" The children will say, "Yes, we have seen it, Prabhu." When you ask where, "Oh, in the TV," like that. But here, Yashoda and Nanda Baba had lakhs and lakhs of cows because they are the king of the entire Yadavas. So after that, two cows were very predominantly popular and interesting and very tasty milk. That is Surabhi and Padmaganda. From that, she herself milked the cow and kept it in the stove to boil it. And she went to attend some other work to churn the yogurt to make some butter. While she was churning, the bangles in her hands were making noise. Generally, when Yashoda and the gopis they do any seva in the kitchen, always they sing the glories of the Lord. Because to keep their remembrance or to always have the thought of Krishna all the time. This is the real mood. What we learn from this is all the Prabhujis or Matajis who are cooks in that, we have to either listen to the kirtan or listen to the pastimes of Krishna. This is very important. So when she was doing it, the noise was a little there, and again, Krishna was asleep. Asleep means the sense, right? I'll tell you again. Not like as he is snoring, all this things. He is sleeping as if, and he is pretending to, right? Generally, when the Lord takes nap, right, we call it as yoga nidra, of eyes open. So the Lord woke up and came to Mother Yashoda. He was hungry. Mother Yashoda understood. Then, while Mother was not immediately attending, he pulled the stick of the churning rod, and she saw Krishna was close to her. Immediately, she put him on her lap, started feeding milk. At the time, the exchange of love, all the acharyas are explaining, this is all the good example for all the for the mothers, how to feed their children. This is very important. So here, Mother Yashoda is completely massaging Krishna's entire transcendental body. The same way the Lord reciprocates also by touching and massaging his mother's hands. So this is the pure ecstasy of love. So this way it's going on. Suddenly, what happens? Mother Yashoda felt, oh, this is time. I have to go and see what happened to the milk. Right? When she left Krishna halfway through and went into the kitchen, Krishna got angry. Right? When we say that Krishna got angry, we should understand it is not the real anger. This is again as a Leela, he makes everybody to come closer to him. Right? One should not understand he is the Supreme Lord. If they come to know, then the distance will be increased. So the Lord does it especially for his pure devotees. So though he is the Supreme Lord, now he is a small little boy of Mother Yashoda. So this way, he felt it, I have to give some good lessons or good message by making some mischief. So what he felt it, he was hungry also. He saw lots of wrapped where the pots of butter yogurts were kept. Certain things he could break it with a stick, certain things where it was too high. Then he was looking here and there. When he saw, wonderfully, there is a grinding mortar. He felt it, okay, let me climb on this and do that. So he climbed on it, broke the parts, and the butter and the yogurt, everything was flowing like anything. As it was flowing, immediately you have to understand he was not eating alone. He was eating with all his friends. Every time, wherever he goes with his friends. Right? So here also, he was feeding all his friends, not only the Gopas, even the other pet, what is that? Monkeys, cats, everything started eating that because Krishna was feeding them. So this way, the Lord gives us a wonderful lesson. Because why the Leelas are repeatedly said, I'll tell you, we get lessons and we have to put it in practice. Sharing is very important, right? So this way, Krishna was sharing with each and every one. Mother Yashoda finished her kitchen work. She turned back to come back and feed Krishna. When she came to her place, this fellow was not there. Krishna was not there. She was doubting, oh, he has been doing all the mischief in others' house. Now he has started in our own house. Let us definitely punish him today. She took a stick looking for him. Suddenly, in one of the rooms, the noise was coming. All the boys were enjoying. Krishna was making lots of fun. It is a butter party, not a wicked party. So they were all having a nice party. When Mother Yashoda was about to enter, all the boys saw her, they ran away, escaped. Even the cows and monkeys, sorry, not the cows, even the monkeys and the cats, everything started running. But Krishna was not noticing. And Mother Yashoda felt, oh, now I am going to catch this fellow. Because when the boys ran out, they did not make noise. Because for sharing the looting, they will share. But when they wanted to give Krishna to Mother Yashoda to be caught, they are all interested. This way, Mother Yashoda came closer. On seeing Mother Yashoda on his side glance, the Lord started running, jumping out of the grinding water. Mother Yashoda chased with the stick, running. It is a wonderful chase, not like our cinema chase. In this situation, it is explained all the devatas are watching from the sky. And they are all astonished. How is it possible? All the sadhu sages, they are trying to catch Krishna. It is impossible. How Mother Yashoda can do it? Right? So, some distance as she was running, the flowers and other things which were kept on her head were falling down. See how beautifully the narration is there in the Bhagavatam. In the story form, certain things I have to skip. Right? The flowers were falling down. That means the woman folk should wear a lot of bangles. I was telling you when she was churning the bangles. Similarly, these are all our traditions and values. Similarly, the hair should have lots of flowers. But nowadays, many people are not doing that. That means our tradition should always be maintained wherever we are. Right? So this way, these are the wonderful lessons which we are getting it. So it is falling down, and Krishna was looking at and Mother Yashoda was running with a little heavy. Krishna was also heavy. He was not very thin boy. He was a little fat. And suddenly when he turned back, he could see Mother was sweating and running. And Krishna felt, oh, my mother ran so much, I should not trouble her. He took pity on her. Again, this is another lesson. We should always take pity on our parents because they do everything for us, but sometimes we are thankless. This is wrong. So here Krishna stopped running. Okay, let my mother catch. So she came and caught hold, and she was thinking, oh, I have caught my child. It is happening for every mother, right? When the son is mischievous, when the mother goes and catches, they feel it. So this way, she felt it. Then at that time, the Devatas are telling, oh, Mother Yashoda, it is your pure love that made Krishna to stop and you are able to catch. Otherwise, it's impossible to catch Krishna. Then she caught hold and raised the stick, about to beat. At that time, Krishna, like that, he started crying or pretending to cry. So at this time, what happened? Mother Yashoda always used to decorate Krishna, as I told you, right? There were so much of kajal, that is ointment on the eyes. So when he rubbed, the ointment also, the entire face came. So Krishna's color is complete black. And this kajal is also black. It adds beauty. It is so bright and effulgent. Right? So this is the beauty of the Lord. And what sort of a face he having? Very much afraid of. You can see, I'll tell you, Prabhupada's disciples have done the wonderful painting, each and every painting. I tell you, Prabhupada will explain and the devotees will draw the painting, come and show to Prabhupada, he will approve. This is one evidence wherein you can see Krishna's face afraid of and Mother Yashoda having the stick. Similarly, you can see one more wonderful photo where Bhishmadev opens his chest and Krishna brings the wheel and Arjuna catches hold of Krishna's feet not to go and fight. So these are all amazing photos, and I will tell you again and again, each and every program other than ISKCON, people are using this type of photos because it is so attractive and the paintings are fully authorized by Srila Prabhupada. That's why we have to look into this, how it is important for us. Okay, so this way, when he was showing the face afraid of, again, at this juncture, we can look at a wonderful shloka from the Srimad Bhagavatam again. Kunti Maharani speaks on this in her Kunti Stuti. What she says, Gopya dade tvai katagasi damadavate yate dashashru kalilanjana sambramaksham vaktram niniya bhayabhavanayasti sama vimohayati dhirabhiyad vibheti. So in this verse, she says, Gopya dade tvai katagasi. That means they are all tying you with a rope, right? Kritagasi damadavati yate dashashru. Dasha means your situation, your position. Dashashru. Ashru means the tears or the coming out from your eyes. Dashashru kalilanjana sampramaksham. Kalilanjana means that ointment become smudged all over. Kalilanjana sampramaksham. Vaktram niniya. Vaktram niniya means the entire lotus face and the lotus eyes are with full of scariness. Kalilanjana samvaktram niniya bhaya bhava nayasti tasya. It's a bhava means what is the bhava? It is out of fear. Right? Bhava nayasti. Samam vimohayati. Samam vimohayati. So I am bewildered. Moha means illusion and vimohayati means bewilderment. Samam vimohayati dhirabi yad vibheti. When I see this, I am bewildered. How is it possible? You are a supreme controller. How Yashoda can do this? Right? So this way we can understand how beautifully Kunti Maharani could recollect this wonderful Leela. That means the importance of the Leela is again coming into the picture. Again, when I talk this, we can go back to Sri Andal Nachar and Sri Sampradaya. wherein Andal Nachar in her Tirupavai, one of the verses, she is explaining this. Tayi Kudal Vedamukam Seita Damodaranai. That means when she was tying, the entire belly was having the entire cosmos. Okay, so moving on back to this story, she put down the stick and she felt it, oh, now it's time for me to give some punishment. I will do one thing. Instead of beating you, I will tie up so that you don't move out anywhere. To tie up something we need, right? So there was some companion for you, right? Who is that? That grinding water. Bring the grinding water along with it. I'm going to tie. In older days, when children do so much of mischief, they used to do this. So when I was seeing this particular Leela, it is something, that's what I'm telling, again, our bewilderment. Astonishing Leela. Imagine the Supreme Lord being tied to a grinding water. These are all nothing. If he thinks he can break everything and go, but he is completely bound by Mother Yashoda's pure love. He bows down before his devotees. That means what? The humility. Krishna shows us the way. Right? The Supreme Lord is displaying this greatest quality, and we are telling the devotees of the Lord, and we should definitely imbibe this quality to the best possible. Right? So moving on, she took a rope and she was about to tie with the grinding water 2 inches short. Then automatically she messages all the gopis, bring lots of ropes, right? Because it's time for us, we have to tie Krishna. All the gopis are extremely happy. Why? Because Krishna is going to be tied up. That means he will not move out anywhere. At one place, if he is there, then they can have a darshan non-stop. This is very unique angle of looking at it. This is the gopis bhava. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says the best prema is coming from the gopis. We do have interesting darshans, right? When we go to the temple, right? But sometimes what happens when we wear a new chapel, our mind is not in the Lord, something else. When we park our car wrongly, our mind is not in the Lord, again somewhere else. So how much moments or how many seconds, how many minutes are we able to focus on the beautiful form of the Lord? But one of the gopis wants to see the Lord all the time and relish the nectarian beautiful form. This is unique. This is unique. Right? So everybody brought ropes, still there was a 2-inch shot. So this was also explained by various acharyas. There are 2 inches short which describes in the Bhagavatam also. One is the effort from the devotee side should always be there. That does not mean the Lord will shower mercy. The Lord's willingness. That's very important. Because we never do for our own selfish attitude. We try to please the Lord. And getting pleased by the Lord is his own sweet will. That's why Prabhupada in the Jalatuta say, if you are, what is that word? I forgot. If you are willing so, right? Like that, if you desire so, right? If you desire so, you please make me to go to that America. Then he says, if you desire so, let me explain as you are. Then if you desire so, let them get attracted to my English way of telling your leelas. So like this, we have to leave it to the Lord. So here, the second aspect is, one is the efforts which is required from us. The second thing is mercy of the Lord. So here the Lord is most merciful. That's why he is called as Bhaktavatsala. So instantly what did he do now? He showered mercy on Mother Yashoda because she was too tired. Again, he took pity on Mother. The position of Mother is glorified so much, not in one place, so many places. When we go to the 10th canto also, again, there is one place where Krishna, after killing Kamsa, both Krishna and Balaram opens the gate of the prison and fall flat to Mother Devaki and Vasudeva. They are telling, we are, due to the time, we are separated, like that. So that means the affection is always flowing. This is the Vatsalya Bhava. There are so many bhavas which we know. Out of that, this is the Vatsalya Bhava, which is very, very important. Then Mother Yashoda felt it, oh, I have tied Krishna. At this time, the Devatas who were watching it, they started raining so much of flower petals. So everybody was wondering in the class, what is this? How is it possible? Right? Everybody thought it's going to be for Krishna, but the flower raining was only for Yashoda. Because she is the most fortunate to tie the Supreme Lord. Nobody else in the creation. Right? That means her position is glorified again and again. This is what Krishna wants. He wants his devotees to be glorified all the time. That's why when you address Krishna, he will not turn and see you. When you say Nanda Nandana, he will look at you. When you say Devaki Nandana, he will look at you. Right? Like this, when you address it his devotee's name, he is more pleased. Okay. So this way, Mother Yashoda went back to kitchen and Krishna thought, I have to continue my Leela. One portion is over. The second portion, Krishna crawls along with the grinding water. As was crawling towards the courtyard, and further, he could see the garden where there were two trees. The Lord purposely, he did not go anywhere here and there because his plans are very clear, right? He has come with a mission and he will definitely execute it. What does he do now? He enters between the trees and the grinding water got stuck. But with little effort, he could bring down the trees down. With a thud sound, the trees went down, Kamala Arjuna, right? From that, two effulgent people came. They are the Gandharvas. They are the sons of Kuvera. They prostrated and started glorifying the Lord. This is a very important aspect. I'll tell you, you can note down 10th canto, 10th chapter, shloka number 29 onwards, if I remember right. Let me confirm it once again to you all. This is a must. You all have to read it regularly. Yeah, it starts from 29. 10, 10, 29 to 10, 10, 38. So these 10 shlokas are very, very glorious. We call it as the Nalakubera Manikriva's Stuti. This Stuti glorifies the Lord and the Lord is pleased. Right? So moving on to that, we have to see his past history, why they became trees and what happened to them. So in the previous lifetime, they were the sons of Kubera. Kubera is none other than simply a treasurer of the Lord. So Krishna is called as the Shriyapati. Shriyapati means he is the consort of Lakshmi ji. So everything belongs to Krishna. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Right? So he is the supreme wealthy person, as we say, the six qualities, right? So here also same thing. But this Kuvera is only simply a treasurer to look after the wealth. But many common man do not understand this. They are telling wealth of God. Because they worship and try to get some wealth. This is a wrong path. Avidhi Purvakam again. Prabhupada criticized this. One who does only Lakshmi Puja, they are called as Ravanas. Prabhupada explains in the purport. So one should always worship Lakshmi and Narayana and Lakshmi Vishnu or Krishna. So like this, here they were puffed up and they were taking bath in a river. While taking bath in the river, Shastra says all should have two pieces of cloth, very much. It's a must. With one vastra, one should not take a bath. They should have two vastras, very clear. This is what it explains. So they were not dressed properly. At that time, Narada Muni was passing through. They came out of the water in a drunken condition. When they saw Narada Muni, they were laughing. And Narada Muni could understand they are not in their consciousness. They are completely mad due to the material conditions. He thought it's time for me to correct them. I cannot keep my eyes closed and go because they are pure devotees of the Lord. So immediately he cursed both of them, you become trees. They were asking, please, why, why? He said, have you ever seen a tree dressing up? They said, no. Then you are becoming like that. So you have to be a tree only. So he cursed them. But after understanding the curse is important, they felt guilty. And what did they do now? They asked for forgiveness. And Narada Muni, being a devotee of the Lord, showered mercy on them also. First he got angry and then he gave mercy on them. What was the mercy now this time? He says in the Dwapara Yuga, Krishna will appear in the Gokula. At that time, you will be relieved from this miserable, sinful conditions. So here, generally in our classes, certain listeners are the Shrota, right? They ask why these sages are getting angry. They are not supposed to get angry. So we have to answer like this. If they are not getting angry, how will be corrected? Otherwise, he will be doing more and more mistake. Again, we can explain one more point. The anger of a devotee always results in all auspicious thing. How? We can understand. As Narada Muni explains, you will be able to see the Lord face to face. First he cursed and he blesses. During the Dwapara you can see the Lord face to face. So the same thing happened. Krishna gave darshan and they started glorifying. See, this way we can see so many things, right? When I say dressing up also, right? Narada comes nowadays, what happens? There will be lots of trees in our streets and other things because many people are not dressing properly. This is a very bad manners, and people are getting foolishly attracted to Western culture and they are trying to copy it, leaving our all wonderful, treasureful traditions and values. Okay, so this way, these two are relieved from the sinful condition. So Krishna one way blessed Mother Yashoda and reciprocated extremely on a higher note. All the acharyas generally explain like this. If you take one step towards Krishna, Krishna takes 10 steps towards us. He's the most merciful one, right? So this way, he showered mercy on Mother Yashoda, reciprocated so much. But unfortunately, common people, they try to exchange the love in the material world. And with that too, with the temporary relationships. These are not going to benefit us anyway. All our love and affection should be directed to Krishna only. Because the nature of a soul is always like the service oriented or not, you can say. But all these things should be directed towards the Lord. Then the human form is meaningful. Otherwise, it's best. That's why in the Bhagavatam, very well it says, Labdva Sudurlabham Idam Bahu Sambhavanti. Manushyam Artadam. Like that, there are so many shlokas, n number of shlokas. So what do they say? Getting human form is rare. So we must utilize this wonderful form and try to understand all these wonderful leelas of the Lord, get immersed and completely focus on it. And one can understand how these glories are relished each and every time. I remember in the Bhagavata Charcha forum from Vrindavan team, which I used to participate, they always say, Prabhu, please read the purport 10 times. That means what? The purport, when you read 10 times, you'll get 10 different realizations. And Prabhupada says systematic study. What is the meaning of systematic study? Many people say, oh, Prabhu, I have read Bhagavatam 2 times. Oh, Prabhu, I have read Bhagavad Gita 8 times. But all these things will not work. Prabhupada says, when you read Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, sit with the devotees and discuss and relish it. That's why Krishna says, Machittaha Madgata Prana. What does he say for that? Bodhayantaha Parasparam. But unfortunately, common man, materialistic people, they talk about traffic, they talk about shares, they talk about everything, but not the Lord. But devotees, whenever they meet each other, they talk only the topics of Krishna. And that is the way we have to exchange it. So automatically what happens? The relationship is getting stronger and bond. If any other topic is talked, then at the end of it, there will be a debate and the arguments will start. So if you keep Krishna at the center, all our discussions will be very, very fruitful for our human form. So this way, even if you listen to this Damodar Leela 100 times, still you will not be satisfied because you want to listen more, more, more. So in this, there is one particular shloka which always Prabhupada used to quote. This is a very important thing. 10:9:20. Nemam virincho na bhavo na stri api yanga samshaya prasadham lebhire gopi yattat prapa vimuktidat. This translation is amazing. Neither Lord Brahma nor Lord Shiva, not even the goddess of fortune, who is always the better half of the Supreme Lord, can obtain from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the deliverer of from this material world, such a mercy as received by Mother Yashoda. So again, in this, Prabhupada explains Chaitanya Charitamrita. Ekale Ishware Krishna Ara Sabha Bhritya. Bhritya is very important phrase. How far we are subordinate to Krishna and how far we are subordinate to Krishna's devotees. Krishna will be pleased if you address, I am the servant of the servant of the servant. If you say Krishna servant, Krishna will not be. So that means these are the wonderful understandings and realizations which we get from various acharyas. Hare Krishna. This is one verse. As I told you, please, I request you, since time shortage, I am unable to dwell on this stuti by these two Kumaras of the Kuvera. 29 to, as I told you, 38. This stuti glorifies the transcendental qualities of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Shri Damodar Bhagavan ki, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय. Hare Krishna. There is one more important aspect and a point which I forgot to include. When he is stealing, he does it with excellence. He is the topmost. That's why the great, wonderful devotee of the Lord from Kerala, Bilamangala Thakur, he says, Vraje Prasiddham Navanita Choram. So in Vraja, what is Prasiddha? What is famous? Navanita Choram. And on top of it, he says, since you have done this crime or you have done this robbery, I am going to punish you. And what does he say now? I am going to put you in a jail. Which jail? In my heart. And what is the punishment? It is going to be lifetime imprisonment. Can you imagine to the Lord? Can anyone say like this? These are all the proximity. These are the closeness. I'll tell you, only in the form of Krishna, one can exchange this loving exchange. The Lord is very, very close to you. In any other form, it's not possible. Lord Rama also, you have to have reverence. When it is Vishnu, again reverence. But Krishna means you can go closer to him and he can be aware. So he says, I am going to put you in life imprisonment in my heart and I'm going to lock it. Imagine how close he is. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It was
Hare Krishna.
it was a very nectarian session, Prabhuji.
Mataji, your voice is again low.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Am I
Yeah.
audible, Prabhuji?
Yeah, better.
Yes, Prabhuji. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. The session was very nectarian about the Damodar Leela. How many ever times we hear it, it feels like we can hear it more and more times only, Prabhuji. It's very, very nectarian. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
Devotees, if you have any doubts, you can ask Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, very nice session. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Ma.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranams. Thank
Hare
you so
Krishna.
much.
Hare Krishna
If you have
Prabhuji.
any queries, you can ask. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So any doubts, questions, comments, you can always give. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
So can I leave?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Because I have got another class again. Hindi.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Ma. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Vanchakalpatra.
Thanks to all devotees. Vanchakalpadrubhyasya kripa sindhubhyasya. Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnava vrinda ki jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandot Pranams.
Hare Krishna.